In the heart of Maharashtra, where the ancient Vidarbha forests give way to dense teak and bamboo, lies Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve, one of India's oldest and most untamed wildlife sanctuaries. Here the jungle follows its own laws, and on top of the law is a tiger. An evening like any other, a meadow, a quiet gathering of spotted deer, the cheetal, going about their ancient ritual of grazing in the golden hour. Life is unhurried here, peaceful even, but the jungle never stays quiet for long. Something shifts, the air changes. One deer lifts his head, then another. The alarm spreads without a word, because in this forest, silence itself is a warning. Every muscle locks, every ear turns like a radar dish, scanning the tree line. They know something is out there, they just don't know where. And then the grass moves. She comes out of the tall grass the way tigers always do, as if the jungle simply exhales her, unhurried, unhidden, absolute. We soon ran into a sloth bear. He couldn't care less about us. He found termites, and in this moment, that is the only thing that matters in his universe. Built like a contradiction, part bear, part anteater, part unmade bed, the sloth bear is one of India's most wonderfully bizarre animals. Those long curved claws aren't for fighting, they're for this, precision earthwork in pursuit of a meal. We moved on, deeper into the buffer zone, where the forest grew denser. Resting by the creek bed late afternoon was Kajri, a young adult tigress who was pregnant for the first time. She soon rose the way only a tiger can. Every moment a complete sentence, deliberate, inevitable. She led us along a path. Look at her, the weight she carries, not just the cubs growing inside her, but something older, the entire lineage of this forest, walking forward on four silent paws. Kajri, named by the people who love this forest, carrying the next generation of Tadoba's tigers. And then she stopped, just like that, mid-stride, as if the forest had whispered something only she could hear. To anyone watching casually, it might look like calm, but that tail tells a different story. It is the one thing she cannot quite control, the small, honest signal of a predator fully, completely switched on. Whatever is in that forest has her complete and total attention, and a tiger's attention when it locks on like this is one of the most focused things in the natural world. We follow her gaze. We see nothing, just shadow and bamboo and the last thin light filtering through the canopy. And then, a photographer in the vehicle ahead of us accidentally drops her beanbag onto the dirt road. But Kajri is undeterred. The beanbag sits in the dust. Kajri ignores it with the magnificent indifference of an apex predator who has far more important things on her mind. She saw a movement in the forest and started running towards the thickets. And then, just inside the shadow of the trees, she stopped. Whatever had drawn her, the sambar, the sound, the promise of a meal, had either vanished or decided the odds weren't worth it. Sometimes the prey wins simply by disappearing. Walking past us, she soon disappeared into the tall grass. The next day morning, we got to experience a sighting of a lifetime. A leopard on a tree. She was not resting. She was anxious, glancing towards the ground frequently, and there was something that had constantly kept her attention. There was only one thing that could have chased the leopard up the tree, and we soon got to see who that was. Stepping out of the thickets was Collarwali, the Queen of Moharli zone, named for the radio collar she wore as a young tigress when researchers first began tracking her movements through these forests. The collar is long gone, however, the name stayed, so did the legend. She stopped in her tracks, waiting for her subadult cubs to join her, and they soon disappeared into the forest. Her subadult cub followed her, scent marking the trees just like her mom did. This subadult, no longer small enough to be called a cub, but not carrying the full authority of her mother as a full-grown tigress, still finding her edges. But then something changed. She sat still for a moment, head lowered and the whole body carrying a different kind of weight. She looked uneasy. Something she ate perhaps? A meal from the night before? Not sitting well in the morning heat? She began to retch, and she brought up what she had eaten before. She shook herself once, started looking around as if checking whether anyone had noticed. And then, with the magnificent lack of self-consciousness that only wild animals possess, she simply moved on.